Now recently the NFL banned multiple accessories, hitting players with fines that you're not going to believe. Now with the league becoming more strict around brand deals or wearing clothes or accessories surrounding popular trends, back in 2016 before a game, Von Miller posted a picture on his Twitter of his brand new Yeezy 750 cleats with the caption that said, "Can't wait to test them out tonight." But little did Von know, someone had warned him that if he wore those cleats in game, he'd be fined, so he decided only to wear them for warm-ups. However, Houston, Texas star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins decided he was going to wear the Yeezy cleats in a game anyways. DeAndre went with his Yeezy 350 cleats in the 2016 season opener, and he was fined $6,000 for violating the rule that says cleats must have a solid base color. After the game, Hopkins spoke with reporters and told them that he'd keep wearing the cleats if Kanye wants to pay the fine. Other players at the beginning of the season were also issued different variations of the Yeezy cleats, and that included Adrian Peterson and Sammy Watkins on top of Von Miller and DeAndre Hopkins. But after it was reported that the NFL was going to fine players for wearing Adidas brand cleats in game, an NFL reporter Nick DePaula spoke and said, "I'm hearing from multiple people that Adidas is putting a plan in place to cover NFL fines and have players continue to wear Yeezy cleats." Now, just like equipment warning games, the NFL has also cracked down on certain brands being involved with players off the field as well. A few years back, the league signed a long-term deal with Bose headphones that allowed the company to put its logo on headsets worn by coaches. But the deal also allows the NFL to keep players, coaches, or anybody affiliated with the league from wearing any other brand of headphones. With that being said, Beats headphones were immediately banned from being worn by players, especially anywhere the player is representing the league, whether it's pre-game walk-ins, warm-ups before the game, interviews post-game, or anywhere that can be spotted on camera at an NFL event. This also includes training camps, off-season workouts, pretty much anywhere. An NFL spokesman addressed the issue and said, "The NFL has long-standing policies that prohibit branded exposure on field or during interviews unless authorized by the league. These policies date back to the early 1990s and continue today. These are the NFL policies, not one of the league's sponsors, Bose in this case. Bose is not involved in any of the enforcement of our policies. This is true for others on field." A huge name surrounding the NFL right now is Colin Kaepernick, and while he's with the 49ers, he actually signed an endorsement deal with Beats headphones despite the rule. He decided to represent the brand anyway at post-game interviews, where he of course became a headline for this as the league fined him for $10,000. Now coming into this year's season, helmets became an issue, especially with the league forcing a change on the players. One of the most headline players coming into the new NFL year was Antonio Brown, who became a trending topic after being dealt to Oakland and eventually signed with New England shortly after. Also becoming a headline after he didn't agree with the helmet change either. Antonio went as far as trying to appeal the helmet situation but was denied. His agent Drew Rosenhaus talked about this and explained that Brown had actually worn the old kind of helmet for his entire football life. Pee Wee football, high school football, college at Central Michigan, as well as his first 9 years in the league, and believes Antonio feels the old version was better for his vision. He felt comfortable and safe wearing it, and the new version makes catching more difficult. Some people believe that Antonio's dilemma was nonsense, but even Tom Brady raised awareness to the issue as well, saying, "You've got something a certain way for a long period of time, so I like as much vision as possible with the peripheral vision. It's a good thing. They're trying to find helmets that players will wear that'll absorb force better. I think it's a positive. I still wear a very old helmet, probably out of habit. You talk about behavioral changes are hard. I've tried new helmets and I'm like, doesn't work, get that out of here. You just have to get comfortable with it. I've been experimenting with a couple different ones and I don't really love the one that I'm in, but I don't really have much of a choice, so I'm just trying to do the best I can to work with it. You get used to the same helmet for a long period of time. My last helmet, I wore it to the last 4 Super Bowls, so it was a pretty great helmet for me. I hated to put it on the shelf." By the end of last year, 32 players around the league were wearing helmets that are now banned by the NFL. And starting this season, it became mandatory that every player was required to make the switch. A league spokesman, Brian McCarthy, tweeted the NFL's position on the matter, writing, "The player can't practice or play in games with equipment that's not approved. If he doesn't play or practice, he's in a breach of his contract and doesn't get paid." Jeff Miller, who's the NFL's executive vice president for health and safety initiatives, said that each team's equipment manager has been instructed to remove all banned helmets, which are listed on a poster distributed to teams Friday. If a team is found to have known about a player wearing a banned helmet or to have facilitated the use of one, it will be subject to league discipline. Jeff Crandall, who's the chairman of the NFL's engineering committee, said that several of the models added to this year's list are upgraded versions of old helmets, and he even said one of the things that prevented some players from moving might have been about comfort or fit or aesthetics of the helmet, not necessarily the safety. But there's a wide number of approved helmets that are comparable in aesthetic now. We're optimistic that this will lead to a migration of folks. Jeff Miller also said, "We've begun to see that over the last couple of years, players are moving from helmets that rank in the poorly performing areas to those that are ranging closer to the top performing helmet. We think that's an important move, and we think that'll improve player health and safety. And the purpose of continuing to rank the helmets and the purpose of the joint decision decision to prohibit certain helmets this year is to increase that continued movement into better performing helmets. Now, just like the NBA recently putting bans on certain ninja-style headbands, the NFL as well actually fined players before because of headwear worn in games. Here in 2019, after the Saints' Week 3 win over the Seahawks, Saints linebacker Demario Davis wore a headband under his helmet during the game that said "Man of God," and the NFL ended up fining him for $7,017. But Demario recently spoke on his Instagram and said that he won his appeal, and instead of paying the NFL for the fine, he decided to donate the money to a hospital. Davis also began selling replica headbands online and raised even more money for the hospital, and he posted a picture of a bunch of kids who were all wearing replica headbands that they made at school. On his Instagram post, Davis wrote, "Wow, look at this. So my agent told me that I won the appeal and won't have to pay the headband fine. Then I see the St. Louis King France came together today to support the movement. Won't he do it? Look at all these beautiful children of God. Always glory above, so I'm taking every penny of that original $7,017 fine, and I'm donating it to St. Dom Hospital anyways. So far, we've raised over $30,000 for them from the headbands. That means y'all helped me turn a $7,000 negative into an almost $40,000 positive, benefiting people who truly need it. Do y'all see how that worked? Let's go. That's crazy." Now, another headwear the league has recently raised awareness towards is face masks. Many players over the last decade have worn special face masks that they claim is for performance, breathing, vision, and all sorts of other reasons, but players like Darnell Dockett and Robert Mathis, who have crazy face masks, do it for the look. The NFL only allows players to wear a crazy or special face mask if they're told to by the doctor or have an excuse from one of them, but it has to be for medical reasons. The NFL released a statement that said the use of non-standard or overbuilt face masks will be prohibited as part of the continued effort to protect players from unnecessary risk. The NFL said that non-standardized face masks present particular safety risks and also more frequently fail the certification test from the company which approves equipment for the NFL. Former Ravens defensive end Chris Canty was one of those players who had a special face mask, and he said that he can't play without the custom mask and eye shield. Darnell Dockett, who was one of the players preaching for a cool mask despite having any medical reason, quoted the NFL's tweet about face mask rules and said, "Dear NFL, we have too many rules. The face mask issue is just nitpicking. I mean, please, let us have some swag. Hashtag please don't find me." Justin Tuck was another big advocate for having unique face masks, but his reasoning for it wasn't medical and it wasn't to look cool. He wanted it to stand out in a league where almost every mask was the same. He spoke about the model and his trend-setting face mask when he said, "You see the old school trains, the grills on the old school trains? That's what I was going for. Everybody's like, can I get that face mask? No, it's exclusive to me. No one else can have it. But it's a copycat league and everything people do, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few of these floating around before we play." Legendary Cowboy DeMarcus Ware was another lineman looking to make a statement in the league with a crazy customized face mask, and after spending the money to have it custom made and even wearing it in one preseason game, the NFL told him that he can no longer use it. Afterwards, DeMarcus Ware came out and said, "I can understand the formality of the face mask situation, but if someone's trying to use it to protect themselves in a league where they call it a safety league, not saying you want to try and set yourself away from any other guys, but is adding things to the product to enhance its safety and its durability." Now, with the NFL cracking down on brand-related issues, Odell Beckham Jr. did something while with the Giants that we haven't seen since. He was spotted wearing a Supreme sleeve on his arm during pre-game warm-ups and even in the game as well. Odell is one of those players in today's league that isn't afraid to wear what he wants, and he's represented the Supreme brand plenty of times off the field as well. During a recent injury he suffered, he even had a custom boot made for his injured foot with the Supreme brand all over it. And Beckham's even had custom Supreme cleats that he's repped as well. But just like the NFL cracking down on anything brand-related that could interfere with the league's official brand contracts, the NBA has seen a few instances of the Supreme sleeve come out during games as well that involved J.R. Smith and Kelly Oubre Jr. not too long ago. After both of them were spotted wearing different Supreme sleeves on either their arm or their leg, J.R. was even seen with a tattoo of the brand on his leg shortly after, and that too raised controversy within that league. It was noted that J.R. would receive a fine each game the brand was either worn or not covered up because of it not being an approved brand within the league, so it makes sense that in the NFL, the sleeve quickly disappeared as well. But this wasn't the first time that Odell wore something that wasn't allowed. After being traded from the Giants to the Browns, Odell started in his first career game as a Brown in early September of this year against the Titans, and although the Browns lost, the big takeaway from the game was Odell, who seemed to walk into warm-ups wearing a specific watch. Nobody thought he'd wear such an expensive piece during the game, but he did. It became the first NFL player to wear a watch during a game. The watch Odell had on was a $350,000 Richard Mille, which remains the most expensive piece of equipment ever worn in a game. The bright orange watch was the RM1103 automatic winding flyback chronograph McLaren, and this piece was first introduced back in 2018 and was created in a limited edition of just 500 pieces. But according to the NFL, Beckham was in violation of a league rule about wearing hard accessories during play. Hall of Famer Warren Sapp even commented on Odell's watch, and he said, "You can't wear a $350,000 watch and play like a $2 bill." And Odell, after taking lots of heat, came out and said, if anybody else would have worn the watch, if it was a $20 watch, it would have been no problem. If it ain't this, it's something else. If it wasn't the watch, it would have been the way I tie my shoes. After taking a lot of heat and possibly a fine moving forward after wearing a watch in week 1, one, Odell came out in week 2 against the Jets in his return to MetLife Stadium wearing yet again another expensive Richard Mille. Odell's watch this time was so rare that Richard Mille's website said only 10 of these specific models were ever made and they retail for $2 million. Many watch experts were talking about the watch on social media. One even said that this watch has to be milled and ground from solid pieces of sapphire, and any mistakes can result in the piece cracking. It takes 960 hours for one case, and there's almost 1,500 hours of sapphire machining in a single one of these watches. Odell might have been content if something happened to the first watch during the first game, but since this specific model was so rare and hard to get, Odell left it in the locker room before coming out during game time. Yo, brah, what are you doing? Click on this video, dude. Seriously, bro, this video is fire. I wouldn't just say that. Trust me, bro. Just click on it and you'll see. Do it. I dare you.